Okay, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? Ah, I didn't sleep too well last night. We had a lot of rain, and the way it hits on our apartment, it sounds like hail. And then the way the wind just surrounds the house, it's just yeah, you don't get much sleep. Hey, how you doing? What what's everyone up to? What's everyone reading? I feel like it's been a while. I haven't been on in a long time. What, like a month? Good morning. Good evening. Howdy doody. Good morning, King. I'm heading downtown for the Seahawks parade. Tell me about not getting enough sleep. Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations on the win. We watched that, and yeah. I actually thought the Patriots might have had a chance, but defensive stop after defensive stop. It's night in India. I was about to sleep and I saw your notification. Well, it's awesome that you get notifications. I'm always curious if how often you see my videos pop up and like if you get notified. I've heard some folks say they've signed up or whatever for the notifications and they don't even get notified for my new videos. YouTube is very interesting. I'm reading The Wall of Storms, and as thick as it is, it's so good. Ugh. Never heard of that book. Wall of Storms. Currently reading The Wastelands by Stephen King. Ugh, I've yet to read Dark Tower. That'd be so nice. Currently rereading Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Yeah, Blake Crouch is something else. Mike from Mike's Book Reviews constantly praises Blake Crouch. I would very much love to try him out. I have what is it called? Dark Matter. I have that book. And the first book in the Pines trilogy. Reread of the books by Joe Claes, my favorite Belgian author. Okay, neat. I've never heard of that one. Reading The Once and Future King. Good evening. How are you? I'm doing great. I barely got any sleep. You might hear rainfall throughout the live stream, but we'll see. You'll get a chance to hear how it sounds when it hits the house. Good morning from the East Coast. Good morning from the East Coast. It's 11 o'clock over there. I wanted to try to get my friend John. I mentioned in my recent video, my channel and reading update video, that my friend John and I are going to do a live stream together. And I wanted to try to get him on this day because I like Wednesday being a live stream day. And sometimes that, schedules dictate differently. But yeah, we'll try to get him on one of these days. Maybe Saturday, maybe next week. The Dandelion Dynasty, Chinese-inspired epic fantasy. Yes, I've heard great things about that. Hello, hello. Dark Tower is amazing. Yeah, I read the first book years ago, and of course, it just went in one ear out the other. Didn't seem to register. But now that I am a seasoned reader, I would love to give it a try again. How am I liking Lonesome Dove? Probably my favorite book. I'm loving it. I don't know if you saw my recent reading update, channel update video I posted on Monday. I talk a little bit about this, and yeah, something crazy just happened in this. I was at the barbershop yesterday. I like to go in 30 minutes early to get some reading in, and my jaw dropped at something. So it's amazing, and it might be my favorite book of all time. And I have about 300 pages left. Hello from Kurdistan. I was watching you favorite 2025 books, and I got a notification for the live. Wow, I love it. Look at that timing. Well, thank you for joining. It means a lot. Dark Matter is your favorite of all time. Okay. What is the elevator pitch of Dark Matter? I know we want to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, but I'm curious. Dark Matter is awesome. I'm enjoying my time with Erickson's Witness books. So good. Is that part of Malazan? Recently finished Wheel of Time book 0. Reading Star Wars Darth Maul as a palate cleanser. Elite audiobook experience. That's cool. The Darth Maul show. I'm not much of a modern Star Wars guy. I don't get hyped a whole lot, but that animated Darth Maul show looks pretty good. Struggling to find the desire to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy right now. Finished Fellowship, and I am such a slow reader. It takes months to finish these individual volumes. Wayward Pines and Dark Matter are absolutely mind-blowing. That's exciting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Alan Wake video games, but I want that. And that's what I hear Pines is like. I doubt he's translated to English. Belgium is too small for that, I think. Oh, goodness. Hi. Good afternoon from Manchester, UK. Well, good afternoon. He should read Anna Karenina. What is the elevator pitch for that one? Because I hear about that. That's like a classic, right? I don't know too much. Hello. I'm reading The Winds of War by T.C. Edge. It's a self-published fantasy series. It's the 4th book in the series, and I'm loving it. Cool. You know, the crazy thing is I might yawn during this live stream. And normally when I wake up, I don't yawn. I yawn at night when it's time for bed. So I apologize if I'm yawning. Please don't be mad at me. I think I know the part you read based off where I see your bookmark. Yeah, don't say anything. But let's just say it involves Jake Spoon and a new group of characters. What's up, everyone? Twice Born by Grace, the true OG of the channel. How you doing? Yep, that's what I hear. I'm glad. I appreciate that. I love going into books as blind as possible. Just makes for a good reading experience. And again, on the topic of, I don't know if you guys are notified or if you see my videos in the algorithm or in the feed. I did a video on talking about why I think people should stop loving the books they read, or basically I talk about you shouldn't love everything you read. And one of the things that I didn't talk about is going into books blind or going into books as objective as possible. Because when you come in to a book with hype or preconceived thought, that's going to influence how you experience the book. And that's what I love about this. My advice is to go into Dark Matter completely blind, because I think that makes for such a good reading experience. It allows you to come away with your own thoughts and your own critiques, if you have any. That way you're not just piggybacking off of what other people are saying about the book. The Witness Tales takes place 10 years later after Malazan Book of the Fallen. Whoa, very cool. The Alan Wake video games were phenomenal. Yes, I agree. My wife and I are so excited for Resident Evil 9. That's coming out in, what day is it? It's the 11th, so that's coming out in 15 days or so. It's going to be exciting. Started reading Margot's Got Money Troubles. Ooh, what's that one about? It's funny how I am a quote-unquote booktuber, and I barely know any of these books. I mean, no one's going to know every book. You're not supposed to. And that's the joy of this channel and the platform of Booktube, for us all to talk about books and learn about books and recommend books. The Once in the Future King is a classic Arthurian tale, fantasy. In case you didn't know, most people know its first volume, The Sword and the Stone. Oh, yeah, it sounded familiar. The Once in the Future King, that I had a feeling it was some sort of classic along those lines. Which genre you love most and which least? Ooh, I like this. I'm going to say right now, with what I have reading experience in, I least love sci-fi because I've only read like 1 or 2 sci-fi books. I love fantasy, but I also love, I think, just general fiction more now, just because I feel like I don't know, fantasy standalone books or fiction standalone books, I enjoy more because they're standalone and they don't rely on a fantasy series, other books in a series. What about you? Let's ask everyone else. What genre do you love most and which do you love least, and why? I do try to stay away from hyped up books. They tend to disappoint. Yeah. And I think the hype disappoints, adds to the disappointment because you have all these expectations. That's me with Empire of Silence. I'm still giving that series a fair shake. I've got book 2 and 3, and I want to at least read those 2 books before I completely hop off and write the series off. But everyone says book 2 and 3 are just so good. I'm trying to get that out of my head so then I can just approach the book when I'm ready and I'm not influenced by everyone else telling me that I need to read it. Because again, I want to come away with it, with my own thoughts. Reading Days of Shattered Faith by Adrian. I don't know how to say his last name. I don't want to butcher it. Book 3, great dense series, medieval setting as fascism takes hold in the city. Oh, wow, that's cool. I thought he was primarily sci-fi. That's neat. I'm waiting for the sequel to Dark Bloom in the mail, but this weather has been awful and everything is delayed. Ugh. Here in California, it's been gorgeous. A whole month of just 70s, 75, 80 degrees. Finally, we're getting rain. And I wouldn't constitute last night as a storm, but it kept us up, just pounding away at our house. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. We're loving it. Absolutely loving it. Have you seen any episode of The Night of the Seven Kingdoms? No. We're piggybacking on my mother-in-law's HBO membership, and we got kicked off because I think HBO knows. So we haven't watched anything from HBO. Finished Requiem for a Dream the other day. What a masterpiece. The movie was also insane. Wow, I did not know it was a book. That's a movie I definitely want to watch. Long-time watcher, first-time caller. Whoa! I love this. Wow. When did you find my channel? That's so cool. Appreciate the atmosphere of your channel. The feeling of your videos is akin to the comfort gained from rewatching a favorite TV show. I want to screenshot this. That's something I want to keep forever. That is so awesome. I love that. I'm also reading Farseer Trilogy before sleep. It's awesome. Love Fitz, love Hob. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I loved book one, and I don't know when I'll dive back in, but I will. I will. I think Hob is easily one of my favorite authors of all time. I would like to do a video on my favorite authors. I just feel like I haven't read enough yet to tell you who my favorite authors are, to at least have a balanced variety. Because Larry McMurtry is easily one of my favorite authors, and I've only read not even a full book of his. So I don't know what allows me to make a video of something or not, but maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll do that this week. Who knows? What about Infinite Jest? I see everyone at airports, coffee shops reading that book. I know nothing. I know I've gotten a few elevator pitches on this book, but it just looks massive, and I'm not ready for it. Also, after this book, I'm definitely going to be reading books that are like 250, 300 pages long, just to get a little bit of momentum. I know that's not the whole point of reading, but I want to feel like I could read smaller books. Yeah. Hey, Thomas, thanks for all the great and thoughtful videos you make. I always enjoy hearing your perspective and thoughts on different topics on books reading. Started reading again in January 2025. I don't deserve this. That's awesome. The fact that you take your time out of your day to hang out and just listen to my thoughts, that means a lot, because I'm just a guy. As Mike from Mike's Book Reviews says, I'm just a guy with Wi-Fi. I'm just a guy that reads books, and it is neat that, you know, this channel is able to encourage and help other readers. How's your reading journey been after reading for a year now? How many books did you read? What were some of your favorite books? Let me know. Favorite genre, thrillers. Least favorite, stories set in war times. Interesting. Thrillers is awesome. They're awesome if they're done right. I want to read, let me grab this book real quick. This is definitely one I want to read this year, for sure. I hear great things, and I love the movie. Loved the movie, and sadly, I watched the movie before I read the book, but what can you do? My reading journey started because of Sherlock Holmes short stories. I want to know about your starting memories. Ooh, great question. Love that. And I'm not even talking about the topic of this live stream, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. 36 people here. That's incredible. That's unbelievable. I can't. That's so cool. Well, my reading journey started back in the good old days of I don't even know where to begin. I read The Road for the first time in 2015 as a young college kid, and I liked it. I wanted more books like The Hatchet, you know, those survival kind of books. And the gentleman at Barnes & Noble recommended The Road. I liked it. It was interesting. It was neat. But I wasn't old enough to really appreciate the weight of that book. I just read it for the story. And then didn't read anything, played a lot of video games, lifted weights, played a lot of basketball, fell in love, got married. But before I got married, 2020 was the year I started reading Lord of the Rings. And I tried to read it with my mother-in-law, and I got about halfway through, and she and I were talking about it. It was just homework the whole time. I couldn't do it. And then she lent me the Chronicles of Narnia books. I liked them. They were good. Easy, breezy reading. But what that did is that gave me momentum. That told me, oh, I can read. I can read books. I can read consistently. I'm not a terribly slow reader. I can do this. Then I read a couple of the what was it? A series of unfortunate events. I read 2 of those books. I jumped off fast because loved them. But if that's the whole point of the series, I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep reading a series that just was so, it just got you excited, and then it's like, boom, hopeless. And then I was gifted Harry Potter, the whole series for Christmas, 2021. And that's when I think it started. It really started when I always wanted to read a book. I always wanted to have a book in my hand wherever I went. And then, of course, later that year, I got introduced to Name of the Wind, a fantasy book that changed my life. And that those 2 aspects were just huge. That's really how it started. And I just have fond memories of ripping through Harry Potter, just destroying those books quickly within like 2 or 3 days. It's so cool, and now as a reader, I feel like I'm slowing down depending on the book I'm reading, of course. But yeah, that's my starting journey. What about you guys? Talk to me about your starting journeys in reading. What were the books? Actually, what was the book that started your reading journey? And share me a few starting memories. And what kept you going after that? After that book that got you going into reading, what kept you going? Really cool. That is a varied list of genres. Your cold days are like spring in Ohio. Yeah. Yeah. Hard to Be a God science fiction book. Have you heard of this book? No, I have not. What's that one about? I'm just not that big of a sci-fi guy. Not yet, at least. Notice how I'm kind of waking up. My energy's a little more up as this lovely, lovely cup of coffee is doing its thing. Favorite lists tend to change over time, so why not do a video about it now? Then years down the line, you can do another one and see what changed. That's a good idea. I might do that. Should I do like a top 10 list? Because I don't even know if I have 10 legitimately favorite books, or should I just say my favorite books of all time and then go from there? That's an idea. I might do that. Because I've shared my favorite books of all time. They've just been lumped in with a ranking video from worst to best. So it'd be nice to kind of isolate that and actually provide thought behind why they're my favorite books, rather than saying, this is great, this is a masterpiece. That's a good idea. I really appreciate that. Started my Wheel of Time journey this year, and I'm halfway through The Great Hunt. Loved your video on it. That's awesome. Yeah, man. Oh, talk about reading, like reading memories. I just this morning I was thinking about that again, just Wheel of Time. How much I miss Wheel of Time. I miss that series so much, and I'm so happy you're able to start that. Enjoy it, savor it. It's not for everyone. So if you find yourself falling off it, don't feel bad. Uh, just one book at a time. I believe I found your channel on your first or second video. Whoa! The one about reading Wheel of Time for the first time. That's crazy. So long ago. Well, you really are a long-time listener. Appreciate you. This live stream randomly showed up on my feed, so I thought I would join. Okay, well, neat. How you doing? Sophie's Books. Sounds like you are a booktuber as well. I don't know if you're still in the chat. I'm a little late to your message, about 7 minutes. I'm always late to everyone's message. Feel horrible. Yes. Yes, I have. I have them upstairs. I got them because those are 2 books I want to read in my lifetime. And I heard Nerd Level Rising, Jake, he finished them. And he got a tattoo of it. So I think he loved it. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was great, but also brutal. After reading all these fantasy doorstops, it's nice to read a book that's less than 300 pages. Yeah. It's refreshing. My favorite books are a mix mash of genres, but I have a preference for dark or slightly speculative novels. Gothic, romanticist. I enjoy Dracula, Moby Dick, Joseph Conrad too. Okay, very cool. Dracula, I'd love to read. Isn't that book about just journal entries? That'd be really cool. I have to second the sentiment by others. You are a very bright light when days seem dire. You deserve all the love shown to you here. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. I always just feel like I'm a normal guy, and it's amazing that we have this little community together that we can just hang out and share our love for books. I'm glad I can be a little light in this tunnel. My reading journey has been great. Taking my time working through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. Reading as an adult is awesome. Excited to check out more fantasy authors. Stormlight Archive is very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of fantasy books for you to chew on. That's exciting. And I think Sanderson's a great entry point to fantasy and just reading in general. I think my reading journey also started with Harry Potter, or, well, that's the series I most remember. I finished today Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and I'm still thinking about what I read and the character choices. Didn't you leave a comment on my recent video about what topics you'd like to see on my channel? I thought those were awesome. I would very much love for y'all to tell me what you guys want to see on the channel, like what topics you want me to cover, like book reading and booktube content kind of topics. Because when I get an idea, I just go with it. It just feels right. Feels, it comes from within. I don't really try to copy a lot of what other people are doing. But it would be nice to get some brainstorming, ideas. Very cool. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Redwall. Girl with the series got me excited again in college. Reading The Institute by Stephen King got me back into reading, and the Ray Bradbury kept me reading. Very cool. How was The Institute by Stephen King? I have that on my shelf waiting for me. I'm also partial to nonfiction about people taking epic journeys or historical travel logs. Whoa, I'm behind in the chat as usual. He's back. I'm late. Hey, no, you're just on time. The Western canon got me excited about reading in my late 20s. Hi. How you doing? Favorite books of all time is a good place to start. Do what feels works for you. We will watch it. Means a lot. Where the Red Fern Grows, in way back when I was in high school, was my starting point. Still haven't read that one. When I was 9 years old, my parents bought me Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, and I devoured it in a couple of hours. Years later, I was devouring Homer's The Iliad. Wow. Talk about a step up. I don't really have a reading journey. I've just been constantly reading since I learned how to read at 6 years old. Love that. Everyone needs to just read. And it's so cool to see young readers just start, like readers starting young. My nephew, he's reading books. Not chapter books yet, but he likes Where's Waldo and picture books, but he's reading, and that's great. That's where it starts. I don't know what you meant here, but hello. My reading journey started with The Worst Case by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge, and 007 Solo by William Boyd. Just finished book 11 of Wheel of Time this morning. Bittersweet. It was oh my gosh. I took a break after that one, and I sat. I don't think I did anything that whole day after I finished it. I was so sad. And then I took a break and read a couple Stephen King books, came back, and oh boy, Sanderson really, really got me just back into it. And oh, you're in for a journey. So excited for you. Darn, I'm going to have to catch this on replay. I'm in the middle of homeschool with my kids. Just wanted to say hi and happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for hanging out. What do you think about books adaptations? Like adaptations from books to movies or movies to books? I mean, book adaptations. My thoughts on that, I try to read the book before I watch the movie or show, just because I want to be able to go into the original source material as objective as possible. How do you balance gaming and other hobbies with reading? Such a problem for me. Would love to know your thoughts in a video too. Okay, let's actually talk about the subject of the video. Is life too busy to read? Or, are you ever too busy to read? Well, number one, no. You're never too busy to read. You can read 10 pages in a day, every day. You can do it. You can read a chapter a day, and that chapter can be a page. There's always time. Always time. I think the thing is, when life gets busy and crazy, you got taxes, you got projects, you got hobbies, and you got friends and family, all this stuff. It sounds very specific, kind of like me. That's what's happening. It's crazy. Crazy busy. The mental capacity. Sure, I got time. I got 10 minutes. I got 5 minutes. I could read a page. But the mental capacity and the weight that's on my mind and just on my consciousness, like I can't. Some days I just don't want to read. I don't want to immerse myself. I don't want to separate myself from what's happening in my life right now to dive into a book. It's tough. It's tough sometimes. But what I have found, even on the days that are tough and I still decide to crack open the book, I'm right back in it. I'm in it. And that's just how it is. Life, you got to balance your hobbies. I say this all the time on my videos. You don't want to be doing every single hobby all at once every day. That's insane. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna hate every hobby you have. You're gonna throw it all in the trash. You want to balance everything. You're gonna want to put some books down. You're gonna want to put some games down. You're gonna want to put them away for a while. Put some hobbies away. Pickleball, that can wait. Wait a month or two to go back on the tennis court. Magic the Gathering, that can wait. Dungeons and Dragons, crocheting, painting. I don't know. There's certain hobbies that you may just want to put down for a little bit. Pick up another hobby. That way, you take a break from one hobby, you come back in to another hobby with excitement and vigor. It's great. Same thing with reading. Maybe you want a break. And that's been this book right here. I've been reading this since October of 2025. Mainly that's just, life has been busy, but I just want to respect this book and the weight it carries. So that's why I'm taking my time with it. But yeah, it's all about balance, all about priorities. Don't let life, drown you. If you have hobbies, which is always good to have, pick one and do that. Give the other hobbies a break. Have you watched or read Hamnet? No, I've heard amazing things about it though. So I'm going to go into that blind. Oh my goodness, y'all. I am way behind. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. Okay. Hi there. Sorry if this has already been asked. What about Twin Peaks? What about Twin Peaks? Like, am I still loving it? Yes. We're still watching it. Absolutely. Yes, you're right. I am a booktuber. Started about 5 months ago. So still pretty new. I love that. What, Sophie, what are some of your favorite books? Again, I'm 8 minutes late on your message. I'm so sorry. And what made you want to start your booktube journey? Welcome aboard. Yes, I did. You're awesome. I appreciate that. Currently reading Dune by Frank Herbert. The book was published in the 1960s, but reads very modern. Have you encountered this before with books? Yes. I've noticed that when you say reads modern, I'm curious what you mean, because I think modern language is definitely, I don't think books are as good as they used to be. I'm just going to say it. I think books that are coming out now, with how many books are coming out, quality over quantity, quantity over quality, there's just so much happening, so much getting released. I've read books that no matter what time, what year, what era you read them in, they're amazing because they're timeless. They're written in a way that you could read them in the 1920s, you could read them 2025. It stands on its own. It doesn't have trends that fizzle out. It's I don't know, this is a timeless book because it's authentic to a period in time, a historical period. So no matter when you read a book like this that takes place post-Civil War, that's just a part of time, part of history. So anyways, I'm rambling. But yeah, it's awesome when I encounter books like that. Been reading since I was around 8 years old. The book that started my reading journey were Goosebumps, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roald Dahl, among many others. Love that. I would love to know your secret on how to be more in the moment with your book. As said in your precious video. I am a bit jealous of how you not stress over the amount of books you read. For me, it's not rocket science. Like, I don't try to overthink it. Again, I think it's just the older I get, I see things for what they are. I see reality, and I'm not going to be fooled by reality, and I'm not going to be divorced from reality. I see a lot of these trends. I see what social media is and has done to, people in society. And I see what, how unhealthy YouTube can be, scrolling, and Instagram scrolling. I see the downward quality, like the downward spiral of filmmaking. The quality of films, it's not out there like it used to be. So coming back to this, being more in the moment with the book, I know what I like, and I know what I don't like. And I know it sounds picky, or I don't know. I just don't want to waste time on books on my shelf or books that I feel like I'm not going to like. And I want to give my time to books I do like and love. I don't know if that does anything. I'm so sorry. I'm getting long-winded here. Hello, finishing Anna Karenina, such a masterpiece. I'm planning to read Fear by Stefan Zweig for the 4th time. Highly recommended. Okay. Hello, buddy. Reading The Blade itself, by the way, really cool so far. It's the first modern, I think it's modern at least, fantasy book I'm reading. Yeah, there's a lot of good modern fantasy books. Do you have any specific books you plan to read after finishing Lonesome Dove? Yes. I want to read shorter books. I might dive into fantasy. I don't know yet. I think I'm going to make a video on that. Because right now, I don't have, that list on my head right now. But I have specific books for sure. I do want to read this year. And thinking Cold Blood. I want to read more Cormac McCarthy. I want to read East of Eden, but that'll be down the line. The Shining by Stephen King. Yeah, that's all I got. Do you take notes while you read? When I take breaks from reading or watching a show, I often forget what happens. You just jump back in and it all returns to you? Yeah, I just jump back in and it returns to me. I feel like I haven't taken too long of breaks in between reading, so I don't need to take notes. Things stay with me, thankfully. I'm happy I'm able to retain information for the most part, or at least retain the feeling, retaining how I felt reading the book at the moment. So I'm able to return to that. Nice. We did that. I think we're on 22, 24. I can't remember. We're nearing the end. I feel like I'm kind of stuck in the loop where I always save reading for before bed. And then after 2 pages, my eyes are too tired and I go to sleep. That happens. Maybe read in the morning if you have time. But it's not a bad thing to read and get tired, because that means you're getting a good night's rest. You're not scrolling right before bed. I try to read at least 50 pages a day. I don't always get there, but I find it to be mostly achievable goal. That is very achievable. I read 100 pages in a day of this book, and it felt like a breeze. Then I took a break because I didn't want to speed through it. I want to slow down a little bit. I find reading before going to sleep at night is the best time for me. People might scroll on their phone or watch TV before bed, so I think it's realistic to be able to squeeze it in. I agree. You watched Twin Peaks as well as Magneto? No, I've never heard of that one. If you could dodge a wrench, you can read. Amen. I'm going backwards now because I feel like I'm leaving people in the desk here. Agree that there is always time to read. I made it a habit to read every day, even if it was just a page, and it is something that has stuck. But I don't force it if I'm not enjoying it. I love that approach. I try not to force it as well. If I'm not enjoying it, take a break. Give it another try another time. I don't think I can do 10 pages a day. If the book hooks me with words and story, there's a good chance I'm going to read. Yes, that's where I'm at. I'll at least get a chapter in. But more often than not, I go into a book one day at a time, one chapter at a time. And more often than not, after that chapter, I'm on to the next chapter and the next and the next. Just depends on my work schedule. Have you ever wrote fiction? Thoughts on writing yourself? I think last year I was a little more confident in the idea of writing. But now, probably not. I feel like writing is so hard, and writing good and great and masterful. You know, like this kind of book right here, a Pulitzer Prize winner, that you're not gonna be able to write. I mean, I don't expect to write that. Okay. I'm not trying to go in with that expectation, but for me, I just don't want to write for the sake of writing. I'd at least want a purpose and a reason to be writing, or a story that I want to share. If I were to write, it'd be nonfiction with embellishments with fiction. I'd want to write parts of my life and weave in a little bit of, fictional, again, embellishment. But writing something original, I don't know. Whatever I write, I want it to be grounded. I'd want it to have humanity in it, that human element that I love and crave in stories, something that is relatable on a much deeper level and subtle level. I'd want to be ambiguous. But again, in order to write and be good at writing, you just got to write. Just like lifting weights. In order to gain muscle, you got to lift some weights. You got to eat some food. You just got to do it. And writing is something I've only experienced in with Dungeons and Dragons. That's it. Thankfully, I feel like I'm pretty good at running games of D&D, because there are a lot of elements of writing and storytelling and pacing and presenting moments of a story or of a world to people that you can learn from Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot you can learn from Dungeons and Dragons. Twin Peaks, every day, once a day. Give yourself a present. Don't plan it. Don't think about it. Just let it happen. Quote of the day. Always on my lunch break. Always a joy to see you, man. You're awesome. Yeah, friends, family, work, acting class, working out, reading, sometimes gaming. It's hard to find time, but I try to get a chapter in a day. If you can walk, you can read. Yep. I try to read before bed, sometimes during my lunch break at work. Too busy to read? No. I eat to live, and likewise, I read to live. I like that. I want to read It by Stephen King, but I freaking hate clowns. Oof, then maybe you shouldn't read it, but maybe if it helps you fight your fear of clowns. Despite having been into reading for most of my life, I would always still struggle to name a top 10 books. Amazes me how some people can. I can maybe do a top 5, but no more. Top 10 is very interesting because so many people read so much. And they read a lot and they read fast, and that's awesome. I read so slow, and I'm very, for lack of a better term, intentional with the books I choose to read. That when I love a book, I want that to mean something. I don't want to just make an arbitrary top 10 list. Cool. I've read more than 10 books, but I'm not going to put 10 books on that list for the sake of it. My favorite books of all time, I know I don't have 10 of those. So I do want to start with a video like that. That would be fun to make. Hey, favorite books of all time. And just start from there. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, but it'll grow as time goes on. It's okay. Because again, like I said in my recent video, not every book is going to be your favorite book. You're not going to love every book you read. That's not healthy. You should definitely have books that you don't like, that you've read. And you should recognize that, because you should recognize your own tastes and develop your own tastes. It's very important for us to understand what we like as individuals. Because if everyone's liking the same book, if everyone's reading the same book and praising the same book, where's the back and forth conversation on that? Where's I don't know. I mean, it's okay for us to love, books, together and have some of the same books to love. But if everyone is loving the same book, I think that's a problem. That's just me, though. I always remember reading, but in my late teens, I got really into vampire genre. But now I read a bit of everything. I particularly like fantasy, sci-fi, dystopia, gothic classics. Sophie, have you read that series, that trilogy, Empire of the Vampire? Vampire Empire? Something, I don't know. By something Kristoff, I think. You should give that a shot, because I hear good things about it. I haven't read it, but it sounds like it might be in your wheelhouse with the gothic fantasy aspect. Is the Wheel of Time slog real, or is it a reader skill issue? I never thought there was a slog. I never. Pacing is very subjective. It's different, and it varies to every reader. I may think something is really boring, and you may think it's very fast, or vice versa. I may think something is paced perfectly, and you may think it was boring. I thought the slog was perfect. It's my favorite aspect of Wheel of Time, because it allowed me to live in that world a little longer, and it slowed things down. It was less about building the world and all the names and characters and just letting me live in it. And that's what I think this book does so good with pacing. It doesn't overwhelm you with information and names and characters. And sure, there are a lot of characters in this book, but how he transitions from one character to another in their mind, from their perspective, from their POV, it's masterful. It's effortless. It's seamless. And many people might be turned off by this book because the first 220 pages, nothing happens. That may be a slog for some people, but for me, it's perfect. Good to see you. I have to head to work, but I recently moved and paid rent as a proper adult. If not for that, I'd have given you money for coffee this morning. Dude, you don't have to do that, but I appreciate the cups of coffee. Speaking of coffee, I went to my local branch. I was getting a bag of coffee, and there was a guy, a worker there, a gentleman. He's switching out the bags of coffee because they switch out the stale coffee for fresh coffee, fresh roasted coffee. And I asked him, hey, do you have anything that's not fresh? Because usually when it has a date, when it was just roasted, you want to wait 2 weeks after. You want the beans to degas. And I asked him that, and he's like, everything's just freshly roasted. Like, dang. He's like, but I do have a bag of coffee that I can give you. I'm like, what? Oh, you don't have to do that. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, all right, fine. Gives me a 2.5 pound bag for free. And it's only 3 weeks old. So that's what I'm drinking right now. So thank you. Best book I read this year so far is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. For the longest time, I didn't know it was a book first because the movie is so iconic. The book shocked me and I devoured it. Love that. Hi there. I can relate to reading Lonesome Dove. I tried reading Count of Monte Cristo, but after 6 months of reading only 160 pages, I dropped it, but I still want to return because I was enjoying it. Different books are going to come to you at different times. And your headspace is going to be different for every book. You'll approach it at the right time. I know you will. Have you read Game of Thrones? No, not yet. I'd like to. Hello, my fantasy journey started with Chaos Walking Trilogy by Patrick Ness, but my journey back to fantasy started with Robin Hobb. Oh my gosh. She's phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. The Institute was great. Big Stranger Things vibes. Love that. That's why I got that book. I was hoping for Stranger Things vibes. Yep. I agree. I know. I'll start it eventually. One of these days. All right, I think I got caught up a little bit, but now I got to catch up again. Holy moly. I am behind. Oh my goodness. Oh. We're going to get through this chat. We're doing it. We're doing it. Ooh, I like this. This is why I prefer the term contemporary. When a booktuber says modern, it usually means nothing to me. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. That makes 100%, Thomas. I absolutely do not want to spend time on books that I'm not interested in. Our time is already so important. They should be spent on books we enjoy. I agree. And another aspect of the video I posted a couple days ago on, why you shouldn't love every book you read and developing your tastes. How do you develop your tastes if you don't know what you like? You just start reading. You're going to have to read books that you don't like. And you're going to recognize that. And you're going to read books that you love. And then comes the compare and contrast game where you know what you like, you know what you don't like. And that's going to help you. That's going to help you find books for your reading journey. Brandon Sanderson gave me book fatigue because his books are so long. For 2026, I'm reading shorter standalone books. Love that. Netflix is fighting against YouTube by uploading podcasts. We're actually living in an overload. Are you kidding me? I'm so exhausted. I am. Oh, that's exhausting. What books would you recommend for non-native English speaker? I want to improve my reading. My level is upper intermediate. Oh my gosh. I would say Brandon Sanderson because he's just accessible all around. He's not a complex writer, and that's not a bad thing. He gets so many people into reading, regardless of your background. Harry Potter, I think, is good because it's just really, it's not rocket science. It's not poetic in a way. It's just straightforward, good storytelling. Yeah, maybe that, because that's all I have experience with, really. But I really don't know, because I'm an English speaker, so I wouldn't know what to recommend on that end. Do you have tracking apps for books, movies, or TV shows? How many books do you read every year on average, considering how busy you are lately? On average, I read about 15 to 20 books a year. Now, I know for a fact when I'm done with this, I'll be able to just kind of burn through books because I'm holding this book up high as, on a pedestal. I want to respect it, want to take my time with it. And, life gets busy, so it's taking even longer to read. That's just how it is. But I feel like when I'm able to read popcorn books like Stephen King or, shorter classics, I'll be able to reach that number. But I'm also not trying to reach that number for the sake of it. If I read 5 books this year, cool. I'll have 5 books to talk about in 2027. I don't really have a daily page goal. Some days I'll read 10 pages. Some days I'll read 50. I love it. I read a book this year called Mouse Cage by Malcolm F. Cross. It's not for everyone, but it is about a lab mouse who is trying to forget his past and gets back on a heroin addiction. It is wild. That does sound wild. Coming to terms and realizing you can't read every book, watch every movie, play every game is a mental skill. Consume the media you desire at the moment. I'm holding that up right there, and we're just going to sit there and read it together and sip a cup of coffee. You answered my thought that I talked about probably 20 minutes ago. How do you juggle all this stuff? All this crap is thrown at us every flipping day. There's over millions of Instagram posts every day, and we're just churning through it. YouTubers are able to post, because they make a living doing that. So they're posting multiple times a week, multiple times a day sometimes. And they just want you to consume. And that's just me. I want to consume what I want. And I'm not going to waste my time with the other stuff. What are your favorite games besides The Witcher 3? Breath of the Wild, Resident Evil 4, Stardew Valley, Slay the Spire. Also, my wife and I want to make a video on our top 10 video games of all time. We did shoot it months ago, but we realized there were some games that we wanted to really finish before we added them to the list. What about you guys? What are some of your favorite books? I came up with my top 10 books of the year. I definitely have 10 top books. Most are 3-star average. Empire of the Vampire. Yep, that's the one. Ooh, so you did enjoy it. Also read the second, but not the third. Okay, very cool. I really didn't like Born Identity by Robert Ludlum. Jason is unlikable. Repeats the plot more times than a Netflix movie. Wow. Oof. I'm just over halfway through Dead House Gates, and I'm loving Malazan so far. 5 chapters left of my current read left. I can't wait for it to be over. 3 stars at best. Am I an anime fan? Yes and no. No, but I'm not against it, if that makes sense. I don't watch it. I don't seek it out. Currently, I've been watching a lot of just foreign films. Watched Another Round, The Hunt. What else? Oh, gosh. Well, we're watching Twin Peaks right now. But yeah, Another Round and The Hunt. Both films are phenomenal. Highly recommend those. Devils by Joe Abercrombie. It's Suicide Squads with dark fantasy. Really cool. Love that. Are you reading Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb? Not yet. I have it waiting for me on my shelf. Happy my comment started everyone's early book memory. Love that. Hey, I'm here for the time being, but I might need to go soon. Goodness. Well, I'm 4 minutes late to your comment. So I hope you're still here. Great to see you. Sorry, I forgot to answer the first part of my question. Do you use tracking apps for books? Okay, I think I answered your question. So we don't need to go into that again. I do not. Join Tom's Crossing at the moment. Yeah, I heard that's a good book. It's a big one. Would you read a book called The Sword of Kaigen? It's a slow burn masterpiece with great character development. It's my favorite. I've heard of it. I would definitely want to give it a shot, especially because it is a standalone fantasy book. Currently reading Thomas Pynchon's The Crying of Lot, 49 Paradise Lost. Whoa, I am, this is a lot. This is a list of books. Looks like it. Becca and the Well of Ascension. Yeah, okay. I don't know how you read so many books at once. That's awesome. Currently reading The Spear That Cuts Through Water. Slow burn, digestible, like Assassin's Apprentice. Very cool. Fully agree with you about The Hunt. Not an easy watch, but it's so well done. Yeah, and the crazy thing about The Hunt is it's not what's the word? It's not like degenerate in the way that's like glorifying of those subject matters. It's something so real that could easily have happened in a small little town, and it's easier to watch than some movies, but I think that journey that character goes on is hard to go through again and watch again and again. Currently doing a reread of Wuthering Heights, but it's like I never read it before. I forgot what most of it what happened. Very cool. I love when you're able to reread something, rewatch something, replay a video game, and experience it like it's the first time. I read Rebecca at the start of the year. Fantastic novel. Breaking Bad. I don't even need to. Breaking Bad. But Better Call Saul than Breaking Bad. Could You by Stephen King? Another book I love this year. I actually really like the ending despite the bad reputation. Also watching The Sopranos as well. It's amazing. Very cool. Yeah, we tried that, but I just don't think we could fully get in there. I love The Hunt. Makes me emotional every time I think about it, regardless of the rough topic. Such a good film. And Another Round as well. That filmmaker really knows how to do it. Slightly controversial question that you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What are your thoughts on Book Talk's obsession with smut? I think it's insane. I don't have Book Talk. I don't spend a lot of time on it. I just know of the craze and the hype of it. I know a little bit about like what some of those books contain. What is it? A Court of Thorns and Roses, the dragon one. I don't think about these things. I think it's if it gets people into reading, great. I'm glad you're reading, like genuinely. But I do wonder, how do you graduate from that? Like, where do you go from that genre or that content matter? Because you got fantasy, and a lot of fantasy people just stay in fantasy. But the romance books, I just see people going back to those and going back to those and going back to those. And I've never read one yet. I don't think I ever will. So I guess I'm just wondering, how do you go from there to something else? something that has a little more depth and something that's timeless. You talk about romance right here. This is a love story. This is a love story, legit. Love is a motivating factor of these characters' actions. And that's so much more than, I guarantee, any modern post-2020 romance book has ever done. That's a hot take, I know. But I'm pretty sure the folks on this channel here, we're kind of on the same page with that, because it's I don't talk about those books. I don't read those books. I think, number one, I think it's great people are reading. Number one. But I do think, I hope people can learn that there's more than just those books. And that's me with fantasy as well. I feel like people need to get out of fantasy. If you have a favorite genre, great. But I do think we need to get out of our comfort genre. Fantasy was my favorite genre for so long. So long. That's all I read for 5 years. And now I'm reading fiction, and these are self-contained stories, and they feel so human and so real. And I just think it's been a great chapter of my reading journey, reading fiction and getting out of my comfort genre. So if romance is your comfort genre, let's get out of that. Let's find romance within other books. I don't think romance, I just think it's crazy that a genre like stories are built around the entire theme of romance. I like when romance is just trickled in, and it happens to be so deep and profound that, I don't know, you don't need to, I don't know. I don't know. How's a new MacBook? I got a brand new upgrade. It was tough. It sucked. I was in the middle of working, editing a project, and poof. So this is beautiful. It's great. But I am a little sad that I had to spend that kind of money, but what can you do? It's a business expense. Hello, hello. I hope you all are doing great. Also, since you are into Westerns, I highly recommend the show 1883. It's a sequel to Yellowstone. Very cool. I'll give that a shot. Dragon 1. Oh, yeah, it's Fourth Wing. Yep. Personally think that the whole romantasy debate is a bit redundant. Some people like a specific flavor of book. That is all. Why make a big deal out of it? I agree. I'm right there with you. If it gets people to read, awesome. I just think regardless of what genre you're reading, I would hope that we can always just try other genres. Because I think getting out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself as a reader is important. Because maybe you didn't know you liked it, The semi-minimalist, I only keep books I plan to read again. Everything else gets donated to my local library. My bookshelf is purposely only 3 feet wide. Yeah, my bookshelf is that big. That's it. My goal each year isn't to read more books, it's to read more pages. I like that. Romance and young adult fantasy smut are two different things. At some point, you should check out Comanche Moon after Lonesome Dove. Okay. It's just as intense and some of the craziest brutality I've ever read, except Blood Meridian, of course. Dang, is Comanche Moon part of the Lonesome Dove thing? Don't tell me what's contained in those books. Just say yes or no. Because I just want to finish this book as blind as possible. Seems like you read a lot of American writers. Is nationality of a writer something you think about? No, not at all. The thing is, when I go into a book, I go into the concept of the book, concept of the story, and the idea of the book. I don't think about the author. I don't think about nationalities. I don't think about gender. I don't think about any of that. I don't think that's something I should be thinking about when I'm picking out a book. I want to pick out a book that I think I'm going to enjoy. I mean, J.K. Rowling is English. Is that the only? Yeah, I don't know. C.S. Lewis, wasn't he English, like a British gentleman? So I read him. Yeah, I have read a lot of American. That's not a bad thing, but I do want to read. I have read Polish, Andrzej Sapkowski, the Witcher series, but I do want to read other books like this gentleman right here. I have read Frederick Bachman. So yeah, I mean, I definitely want to give that a shot. Give other authors a shot from other places. I think some of the romantasy books can be good if that's your thing, but I hate how hyped they all are. I think it goes back to what you said about books not being as good as they used to be. That's a good point. Greg, how you doing? We're gonna get a live stream going. It's gonna be great. Got a book not too long ago, and it was oh my goodness, oof. Yeah, it sucks when that kind of surprises you. I think it's because it's actively damaging other markets, other SF and fantasy. Yeah, that's a good point. It's what gets hyped and what gets, what's focused on a lot. Very cool. Okay. Bought Empire of the Silence today at the bookstore since I saw your review. Very cool. Born but lived in the US mostly, I believe. Just hit chapter 85. Oh, I'm skipping that. Sorry, I'm not going to read that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know yet. I'm only on chapter 68. My reading cycle for 1 5-year is fantasy, sci-fi, some king in between, some sort of fiction, then repeat. Yeah, I like juggling from different genres and different authors. It's really cool. I am probably going to end here. It's been almost an hour and a half, and I've yet to eat breakfast, and I got to get to work. But this was phenomenal. I did study Swedish for a while, so hope to read the Dragon Tattoo books in their original Swedish soon. How's it going, Thomas? You convinced me to pick up Boy's Life, and I have been reading it for the past month. Oh, I love that. I don't mind smut or not, but the whole every story needs to be a series is annoying. That's a good point. I think that's part of how books are published now. They want to make more money off of it. Thomas, what are your thoughts on reading controversial or problematic writers? Here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. I live under a rock. I don't read into a lot of these things. I don't know a whole lot. I try to not study the author. Regardless of what they believe in, what side they're on anything. I just want to read their book. And that's kind of my mindset. I never really thought of that. I just don't want. I don't know. It's tough. That's a. Yeah, I just don't. I separate the artist from the art a lot of the time. Same thing with music. There's so much music out there. There's so many musicians out there that I'm sure are, have interesting beliefs, some good, some bad, some lifestyle choices, but we still listen to their music sometimes. Filmmakers, Hollywood. Look at Hollywood. Not everyone is a saint there. I think we can still enjoy art and not glorify or fixate and focus on the artist so much. Because for me, I don't want the view of the artist to encroach on my view of their book. Because when I'm reading this, I'm not always thinking about McMurtry. I don't know anything about McMurtry. I know nothing. I just know he wrote this book, and I love this book, and I'm liking it, and I'm enjoying it. Hope that helps. Just saying how beautifully brutal it was, and gonna feel so lost after I read that last line. It was a great chat. You're so chill. Love your vids. Name of the Wind, my fave book too. Love it. And on that topic with authors, you look at Patrick Rothfuss. I mean, I know a little bit about him and what he did on his live streams. Apparently, he promised a prologue chapter and didn't give it. And it's been 2-3 years, and he still hasn't wrote his book. I don't want to focus on Patrick Rothfuss. I want to appreciate what he wrote and gifted us, shared with us. So many authors, it's a gift to read books. It's a gift that authors write a book and are like, hey, I want to share this with other people. That's pretty cool. I think that is, how many authors, how many books we don't see that authors write? We know Stephen King. He threw one in the trash, and then his wife took it out, and poof. I think it's a great joy to read books and appreciate books for what they are. And yeah, there is the other side of the coin, where maybe you read books based off, who and what the author is. For me, I read books for the books. And yeah, you eventually learn to love, certain authors, but I try not to, get into the nitty-gritty of that author's personal life. I like it when I don't know the author. Yeah. When I know the author well, reading their books feels like reading their work. When you have no clue who the author is, I seek exactly. That's me with this book. And I'm still talking. I know I'm supposed to say goodbye. Thanks, Thomas. Enjoyed the chat. Thank you for joining. Means a lot. I'll definitely check out your channel. Depends if the message or agenda is present in the art. Be critical about everything, and then I think you're good to go with everything. Yeah, that's a good point. If an author is controversial or problematic, if they are talented, we can still talk about their talent, but not dwell. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You can still enjoy the talent. You look at sports players, wonderful talent on the field and on the the hardwood, but maybe they're not the best people. I don't want to really focus on the person. I want to focus on the talent. Still pissed we don't have a book 3 yet. Yeah, what can you do? Thanks for the live stream. It was the first one I was able to catch because of work, but looking forward to the next. Couldn't be here for the whole thing, but thanks for the stream. I appreciate you joining. All right, but I really got to go. Really got to go. But hey, thank you for everyone hanging out, tuning in. I do have a live stream with Allison Reads Books, or Allison Talks Books, on Friday. This Friday, Let's see. Let me look at my calendar real quick. This Friday, the 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tune in for that. It's going to be great. All right, y'all. You have a lovely day.